It was a nice basement. It was a finished basement.
It was a dungeon.
Actually, both of these took place in a basement. God, that's not a good way to start anything.
Well, I'm Matt.
And I'm Carter.
And welcome to It's Kind of a Gray Area.
Yes, welcome back.
This has been a 4,000 year in the making episode.
Yes, it has. It's not really a shade as much as a deeply fascinating mystery that we want to ask the universe about. So we're going to go over some facts in this very cold case and then come up with some theories about what might have happened and ask the universe. So today, the shade-ish is... what actually happened to the Iceman?
Wim Hof? What happened to him?
No, I think he's still alive.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, this is the Otzi Iceman.
Oh.
Whole different Iceman. He's not Wim Hof, and he's not in the X-Men. But he is fascinating, just like both of them. Everyone named Iceman is so interesting. But okay, so let's dive into this. The Otzi Iceman is a 4,000-year-old naturally mummified body that was found in a mountain range between Austria and Italy. It's super fascinating, one, because he is the oldest naturally preserved mummy that's ever been found, or at least ever been found in Europe. But I think ever been found.
Yeah.
This was during the Copper Age, so it was coming out of the Stone Age, but before the Bronze Age, where things got really spiced up.
Oh, yeah.
But, still a significant age.
Those are some crazy times.
We've learned a significant amount about this guy doing a lot of research on his body. The two of us specifically, I mean.
I have researched his body thoroughly.
God. We got kicked out several times from the museum.
And then never learned.
You just wear a different mustache. You can get in anywhere.
I mean, you think people in a museum would learn from history.
Right.
But
how ironic.
It didn't happen.
Yeah. So, here's what we know about the victim. He was approximately 45 years old. He was 5 foot 3 inches tall and weighed roughly 110 pounds.
Ooh, that's very small and light for what you think of as like a caveman type person.
I think he was a little bit smaller than the average person of that time.
Okay.
There's evidence that he might have been involved in smelting. He was found with a very nice copper axe. Very nice for that time. It would be pretty pathetic now. But back then, that was like the iPhone 11 of axes. Also, there are signs that his lungs of soot, arsenic in his hair, which means that he was probably around smelting and like open fires. Yep. What's interesting is they did analysis on the copper, and it's from hundreds of miles away from where he lived. And based off of his diet, they were able to determine he lived within a 37-mile radius of where he was found. It's really crazy how much they were able to learn by studying this body.
So do you think he was like a rambler, like just traveling around?
I think so. That's part of my theory, is that, based off of his dental, not records, but study of his teeth, they were able to tell he grew up somewhere different than where he ended up living later in life. There was a change in the diet based on the region. So he lived somewhere for a long time, grew up, and then said, you know what, I'm going to wander the earth. Maybe he took a summer learning to smelt for a while. Based off of his diet and some of his equipment, they think he might have been a high-altitude shepherd. Great band name. And
high-altitude shepherd, all right.
Yeah, and the fact that he had this copper axe, they also wonder if he was a chieftain of some tribe or something.
Because it was a valuable item.
Super valuable.
Just like everyone that has an iPhone 11 is a chieftain.
Yes. So there's a lot of good articles about this and a lot of good videos on YouTube about this. Yep. You can get more into the equipment that he had and the research on him. But the thing we're super fascinated about is the murder ambush mystery. So let's get into that. Mm-hmm. He had defensive wounds on his hand that, based off of their research and CAT scans and all this other stuff, looked like it would have been about a day or 2 days healed by the time of death. Kind of seems like he was in a fight with someone. There's trace amounts of blood of 2 different people on one of his arrows and another person's blood on his clothing. So could have been in a fight. They think he might have been carrying someone that had been injured, which is why he had blood on him. But he was definitely in some sort of major altercation. Also weird, he was building a bow. He had the makings of a bow and the makings of a set of arrows with him at the time of death. So kind of weird that he would go off into the mountains without a bow and arrow. Because, I mean, he had the axe, which could be useful, and he did have a stone dagger, which could be useful. I feel like if you're going to get attacked by, like, a mountain lion or something, you're going to want a bow and arrow.
So where is his injuries?
Yes.
So you mentioned a 2-day-old scar on his hand.
Yes. So it looked like he had some sort of altercation with somebody. He was killed most likely by an arrow wound in his shoulder. He was shot from behind, and it hit a major artery, which would have caused bleeding out very quickly. They said that he would have only had like a 40% chance of survival if that happened today.
Yeah, so back then,
with modern medicine.
Like 0 back then.
Yeah, you're on a mountain and you're like bleeding out. You have very, very low chance of surviving that.
Yeah.
But he also has a skull injury. Either someone hit him in the head really hard, or maybe he got shot in the back, fell forward, and hit his head on a rock. Most likely cause of death was from the arrow. So that's the mystery here. What happened to this guy to where he was tracked down in the middle of nowhere and then shot in the back? Here's the super weird part about it. The fact that we know all of this stuff he had was because he still had it on him. They left super valuable clothing from really nice like pelts and shoes and other equipment that he had, herbs that could have been used for medicine on him. He had fungus that might have been a medicinal thing on him. This super nice copper axe that he had, the makings of a bow, arrow tips.
Nothing was stolen.
Right.
Okay, so it doesn't look like a robbery.
Yeah.
Gone bad or right? I don't know. It worked out for the robbery.
It seems very personal. Because think about like if this happened today. If you found someone dead in like an alleyway somewhere and they still had their phone and their wallet, and again, let's say it's an iPhone 11, and then their phone is full of like $300 of cash and they still have like super nice shoes and like crazy nice watch on, but they're dead in the middle of an alley. That would clearly point to it being a personal thing, because you don't just kill someone and not rob them if you're just a stranger or mugging them.
Yeah, it's definitely personal.
Yeah.
All the things are still there. One of the theories I had was like, well, maybe he had like a buddy with him, and that's why the stuff isn't gone. Maybe he just like, his buddy saved him from the fight, and then like,
didn't save him very well.
Didn't save him very well, but got him away from the attackers or fought off the attackers. But his body wasn't buried.
Right.
So probably not.
Yeah, and then some people think like, oh, well, maybe they just couldn't reach the body. But if he was turned over on it, because he was found laying down like this.
Yeah, with it on his stomach with his hand awkwardly placed underneath.
So it makes them think like maybe he was like laid back, and then he like someone turned him over to pull the arrow back out of his back.
Yeah,
which is also weird to me because he had other arrows, and they retrieved that one because the arrow was too valuable to leave, but they didn't take his arrows.
Maybe they took it because it was their signature arrow. Everyone has to have their own signature arrow.
It's the green arrow. It's an ancient green arrow.
He's like, I can't leave it behind. In that case, I'm going to say it was personal.
Yeah. That seems pretty safe to bet on.
And they didn't take anything because they knew if they took his stuff, everyone would recognize it was his stuff. They would be clearly guilty of killing him.
So that would suggest he was a very popular person if they were concerned about getting caught.
Well, even just vengeance of the family. They did a DNA test of like, because everyone puts in like Ancestry.com and all that stuff for their DNA. They ran his genetic markers, his genome, into that and found 19 living relatives to this guy.
Still in the same region.
4,000 years later.
Yeah.
What?
It's just so crazy.
I mean, guys, move out.
Right. So there's two ways he could have died here. Shot in the back, fell forward and hit his head on a rock, bled out to death, and then the person just left. Or shot in the back, fell on his back, person came over, flipped him over, tried to get the arrow out, it broke off. Oh, maybe while he was laying there, they came up and hit him on the head to like finish him off.
Yeah.
But
was
either
it front or back?
Front of the head.
Front of the head.
Yeah. Definitely a personal thing, right? Like he wasn't just like hiking through the wrong area and then that happened.
Yeah.
And I feel like he was on the run because he has those defensive wounds on his hand.
All right, so what do you want to say for Asking the Universe then? How do we want to phrase this properly?
Yeah, I want to know, was he innocently attacked by someone else, or did he kill someone and then someone like tracked him through the mountains to get revenge? Mm-hmm. Because now the more I think about it, that makes a lot more sense. If it's revenge, you don't want any of his stuff. You're just there to kill him and leave. So I guess the question is, Was this a crime of revenge? That's what I want to know. We can't know all the facts, but if we know at least that from the universe, that really lets me kind of like run away with some other theories that I have.
I need to know if his death, if we should feel bad for him, or if we should just be like, yeah, he got what he deserved, I guess, because he killed other people. And
I want to take the side that it was.
Okay, and I'll just say it wasn't, because I have to if you're taking that it was.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to say that it was not a crime of revenge, which means that he would be innocent.
Yeah, we'll say that. Yeah.
Okay. I am super. Okay, I'm
super excited.
I'm super excited.
Right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh.
It was a crime of revenge.
Yeah, it's his fault. He did something that justifiably
someone tracked him down and killed him.
Required revenge and murder of him.
What did you do, Otzi? What did you do?
All right, Carter, I'm very happy we got that resolved. Anyway, we're going to get past that, and we're going to talk about an issue that I have.
We're not going over medical stuff. I told you so many times. No one wants to hear that.
It's not symmetrical, and it scares me. No. All right, so every night when I fall asleep, the room has to be balanced, okay? So
a certain number of good people and a certain number of evil people need to be there.
I need more evil people on my side of the bed. I don't know why, I just sleep better. Today's Would You Rather is, would you rather be too hot when falling asleep or too cold?
Every time?
Every time. Oof. And I will say every night my feet are too cold. Every night, and I don't know why.
To be clear, you're not like freezing. You're not like, there's no like risk of like frostbite or like anything excessive like that.
No. You get in bed, you're like, oh, it's cold. That right there. Yeah. Or you get in, you're like, I cannot have a cover on tonight. It's too hot. That.
I actually have practical experience in this.
Really?
Yes.
You've slept before in these conditions.
Not only have I slept in these conditions, I've slept in these conditions for months at a time.
That's a coma.
No, I didn't sleep. You get it.
Okay.
At one point in my life, I lived in a basement. It was a nice basement. It was a finished basement.
It was a dungeon.
Actually, both of these took place in a basement. God, it's not a good way to start anything. The one basement had a wood stove, and so in the winter, you would have to have the wood stove going super hot to heat the rest of the house. Mm-hmm. So the rest of the house would be like 70 degrees on the one floor, like 68 degrees on the top floor, and then me in the basement, I'm at like 95,000 degrees. So it's like all winter long, it's like you are sweating going to bed.
It's good detox.
And then at a different point in my life, I lived in a different basement that had zero heating in the winter. So every night I would go to bed and it would be like 30 or less. And I would have like 5 pairs of socks on and like 3 blankets on top of me. And every towel I could find sat on top of that. And then I think I would wear like gloves and a hoodie and a coat.
My gosh, man, just camp outside.
I practically was.
Jeez.
It's just there was no wind chill, but it was the same temperature, it felt like.
Oh my gosh.
So I've gone months at a time sleeping in freezing cold and months at a time sleeping in the heat. And I can tell you, I was only ever able to fall asleep in the cold situation.
Really?
I don't know why, but being hot keeps me up way longer than being cold. Eventually, I fall asleep when I'm cold.
I would say heat. I can
see that for you.
I would say heat. I hate being cold. I hate it so much.
Usually when we're in the car together, Matt has it at like 90 degrees on his side, and I've got it at like 68 degrees on my side.
That's dead on accurate. All right, so today, guys, we found out what happened to the Otzi
Osbourne Iceman.
The Otzi Iceman. Right. Finally. So share it with your friends and family and colleagues.
There's still more to know, but we at least know that this was definitely a crime of revenge. The universe told us so.
Yes, and I mean, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a clue.
And speaking of freezing to death, I would find it easier to sleep that way.
And I would like to be nice and toasty and warm. Like, too warm, I guess, was the thing.
Right.
When going to bed rather than being cold.
Yeah. There you go. So if you guys like this episode, there are some other ones that you might enjoy too. Similar into this vein of where we really dive into a topic, our Mars episode. We really talk about what it would take to colonize Mars on top of other ridiculous comedic stuff because we're not like National Geographic or something.
Yeah.
But there are other episodes similar to this vein, so go check those out too.
But in the meantime, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Mm-hmm. There's a button right there for you.
And never move into the last house on the left of a street.
Ring the notification bell.
Mm-hmm. Play underwater ping pong. It helps your aim.
would love to witness you do that. And always wear gloves when petting a cactus.
Yeah.
It's a little hairy. And as always, IKAGA.
Yep.